There are three certainties in life: hangovers, Taco Bell giving you diarrhea, and NetherRealm making a grindy repetitive mode that takes forever to beat. Today we'll focus on the third one, also known as Invasion. I'm sure there's a joke here, but I don't have it yet. Anyways, in all Mortal Kombat games, NetherRealm likes to put some kind of a bonus adventure. One where you get to roam around and unlock all types of random loot. Gear, skins, concept art, that type of stuff. Usually that mode is the Crypt, a mode that allows you to just roam around and open different chests with currency you unlock in the game. There are some puzzles and jump scares, but for the most part it is a rather casual experience. However, this time around they've done away with all that and added a brand new mode, the previously mentioned Invasion. Now, Invasion is a timed event that lasts for about a month and also changes every month. The event is based on the season of the main villain, in this case it's Scorpion, so the main skin you are grinding for is his one, and every skin you unlock through it for other characters will also have Scorpion's iconic yellow, orange and red color palette implemented into all of them. Now, that doesn't sound bad on paper, right? You get to grind for a bunch of unique and cool ass skins. What's the big deal? Well, let's start with the gameplay. First, the way they've implemented this system is very much like a minigame. You are moving in strict lines from point to point, achieving whatever objectives they require. It's very similar to Hitman Go, if anyone's seen or played it, except that was a mobile game and this is a supposed AAA one. Now, these objectives are split into three different sections: fights, test your might, and survive, making you dodge beams by jumping and crouching. The problem is the vast majority of these objectives are all fight sections. Test your might and survive are very rare to find, and when you do, they only last about 15 to 30 seconds. The objective points are extremely close to one another, and because of that, you're constantly forced into endless fights. Not to mention, some of them are triple threats that will require you to defeat 3 enemies, and others are towers that will force you to defeat between 3 and 4. And, like I said earlier, it's non-stop. With literally every step you make, you're heading into another fight. And because the maps are so gigantic and the objectives are so close to one another, it's basically like one endless survivor tower. And if you're thinking to yourself, well, it can't be that bad, at least I can roam around and explore these maps. Actually, not quite, because you see, just roaming from one point to another makes you vulnerable to ambushes, meaning that, believe it or not, you'll be forced into yet another fight. And yes, this is what the animation looks like on PC. This is how broken the game is on launch. So you can take a break from your non-stop fighting enemies by fighting more enemies. All of the enemies have armor, meaning that they will always beat you in a head-to-head encounter, but they're not that difficult. To make up for that, NetherRealm has decided to give them fun and entertaining spells, like raining blood that heals any damage you do to them, or fireballs emerging from the ground, stopping you from ever being able to hit a single combo. Better yet, how about some dark magic that turns the screen completely black and makes it impossible to see what you're doing? Lots of fun, especially when you're fighting an armored boss battle, and no, I have not modified the screen in any way. This is what it actually looks like. This is what you're forced to play through. But nothing, and I mean nothing, beats the experience of being put against an armored opponent who you do 0 damage against, who has a chaos modifier. And for those who don't know, a chaos modifier reverts all of your controls. Not only is it impossible to hit a combo, but even simple stuff like crouching or throwing become very difficult to achieve. So, you're up against a damage sponge opponent who, even through your biggest combo, barely gets any damage on him, and now you can't even hit those combos or do anything for that matter, because all of your controls are being reversed. Lots of fun indeed. Nothing quite beats this experience. And the best part is, if somehow, some way you beat him, you are immediately forced into another fight from a secret combatant. Now, secret fights were supposed to be this really cool thing that you have to work hard to find, and if you do, you'll get some unique rewards too. Bull fucking shit. They spawn all the damn time right after you've already completed a fight or any type of encounter for that matter, and when beaten, they just give you another fucking talisman. Now, talisman are basically modifiers that you use in battle. They're elemental, meaning that they use a certain element to your advantage. For example, a fire element will either give you armor against fire to protect you, or fire punches / meteors to attack your opponent. It's basically that, but for different elements. Now, that's not bad, and I will admit, especially against some of the later bosses like Scorpion himself, and the ones you unlock through the Nether Stones, they can be quite useful, no doubt. The problem is, you are receiving them non-stop, because you're spending so much time fighting secret enemies who all drop them, and every boss or tower does as well. You're constantly being forced to discard them. There's only room for 12, and I kid you not, you get a new one almost every third encounter, and they're only needed on very specific battles. Most of the times you can buy consumables from the collector or just go without them, and as long as you're at least average, you should beat all of your opponents without any problems. Not to mention the forger who recharges and upgrades them is pretty useless as well, as the price requires 5,000 coins for recharging it. It is fucking ludicrous. And you can just get a new one, like I said earlier, every third encounter gives you one. It just doesn't make sense. Not to mention, upgrading them is a fucking mystery, as though most of my playtime I never found a forge variation that made any sense. So, to recap this, you have 7 different maps that you need to complete. Most of them have anywhere between 25 to 50 fight encounters you need to complete, not counting all of the times you will be ambushed as you make your way from one point to the other, or times where you'll be forced into a secret fight right after you've completed an encounter. And yes, I know there is a mask you can buy from the collector to protect you for a certain number of ambushes, but there's a problem with that as well. First of all, that mask isn't always available, and even when it is, you are limited to only 5 consumables, meaning that you won't have space for it because of chest keys and different item modifiers to help you before boss fights. Some of the fight encounters will be test your might and survive, but they are a very small minority, and you can still be forced into a secret fight when completing them. And you may ask, well, I get it. It's really grindy, it takes a long time to complete, but why not just try different characters and use Invasion like a practice mode? That would certainly make it go by faster. Yes, that's a genius idea, and I would have loved to do it in that matter, but there is one very big and major issue with that concept. NetherRealm, the geniuses that they are, forgot to add a feature that allows you to pin moves to the screen when practicing. What that means is, even if you were to look up a combo online, there's no way to figure out which buttons or moves you're supposed to input, cause there's no way to fucking see them. You just have to try all of them and hope you can put them together through memory. For certain harder characters, it's almost mission impossible, especially if you're a beginner / casual player. It's just a fucking mess. And for anybody who thinks, oh, you're just a whiner and a complainer, no, I just explained to you everything that is wrong with this freaking mode, and I'm sure that everyone, and I mean everyone who has played it in its entirety like I did, will agree with a lot of the points I made here. I love Mortal Kombat, and even through the extreme repetitiveness of this mode, I was still able to have some fun. However, there is no doubt this mode cannot continue in this way. Season 2 is coming soon, and if it's the same grind, most players simply won't even bother. Grinding is like an abusive relationship. You can tolerate it when you're in it, but once you get out, you're out for good. You ain't coming back. And this mode has no longevity in its current format. The grind and the repetitiveness, more than anything, will drive people off like there's no tomorrow. There is no doubt about that. And I won't even mention the fact that the current PC version of the game is extremely poorly optimized, and loading in and out of menus or characters takes a very long time. Overall, there's a lot of things that need fixing / changing in Mortal Kombat 1, but the main gameplay experience is rather nice. That I cannot complain about. Character XP needs to be buffed massively though. I've played nothing but Sub-Zero since I started and I'm still nowhere near level 35. You get almost no XP, honestly. They need to buff that shit. But anyways, these are my current thoughts on the invasion mode. You can let me know yours in the comments below. Like and subscribe if you agree with me, and until next time, thank you very much for watching.